You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a Monday, as unfortunately we must commiserate. Chargers 25, Steelers 10, and Matt, I think maybe the sad thing is that it didn't even necessarily feel like a two-possession game. It felt a little more lopsided than that.
I mean, frankly, you could take the Roman Wilson touchdown out of things. It's a positive. Maybe it's something he can build on, trying to start with a good note. But it was a tough watch, and there's no question about it. Early on, I thought it was very even, and I thought the Steelers and the commentaries, Collinsworth and those guys kept saying, it's like, man, 3 or 4 big plays the Steelers left meat on the bone early in the game. And I'm not trying to candy coat it. They got beat bad in this game, but it probably goes different if Porter picks that ball off or if you could get them into more pass-heavy situations. Because I always do a podcast, and the night games are tough, but as soon as the game's over at night, it's like midnight, 12:15 or whatever, I do a podcast from my basement. And I'll admit, after like a Sunday night loss, much of everything that comes out of my mouth is, this is bad. Oh, man.
Negative. I'm tired. It's
late.
I'm
tired, and, they just got beat.
I don't want to hear about you being tired today.
I had a much easier world than you guys.
We landed at 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, and it was a crowded plane, so I didn't even have an extra seat or room to spread out or anything.
Okay,
so
it was a long flight.
It was one of my least favorite flights I've ever been on in my life, considering
I'm sure it wasn't
the circumstances.
Real cheery and fun,
as you can imagine.
Yeah, nobody would complain about the flight if it was a win, but I'm sure every minute felt like an hour on that flight too.
Yes.
But as usual, and I always say this when I do that podcast, that the next day I'll be more rational. Bear with me for this one, folks.
That's fair.
And I think that's just human nature. I address it. I admit it. And they did do some good things. I mean, the reality to me was, all right, let's go through some things. I mean, like, Eccles had a tough day against McConkey.
Yeah.
But that play that kind of broke your back, his coverage was impeccable, and it's an A++ throw. Okay,
And McConkey even got a little fortunate. He kind of bobbled it for half a second, and it stayed right in his bread basket.
He made the better play,
That's the game of inches, right?
And this was not a game of inches. This was a game of many yards difference between two teams on a given night.
Snap counts and time of possession.
Time possession is such a problem. I mean, the doctor's going to, every time we go to the doctor with our time possession stuff, I mean, he's going to be like, it's not getting any better, man.
It's easy to diagnose at this point.
Right. Well, now it's the offense's fault. It used to be the defense's fault. True. Now it's the offense's fault. So whack-a-mole.
Didn't convert a third down until the last 5 minutes of the game. It
didn't matter at all. Yeah. Right. It didn't matter at all.
That, to me, is maybe – in a game full of glaring and damning stats, that might be at the top of the list, that you didn't convert a third down until 55 minutes into the game.
Yeah. So where I was going with this was, okay, no unit played great. Boz missed a field goal.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
They muffed a punt.
We all kind of in the booth when that happened looked at each other and we're like, that's a vibe shifter. It's still so early in the game, and it's obviously not Boz's fault, and he's allowed to have misses from time to time.
He's not going to be perfect every year.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Even Tiger Woods shanked some shots from time to time.
Sure.
But that one felt like man, maybe it's not going to be our night.
Yeah, right. I mean, even like Pursuit and I were talking about the opening kickoff. It's like they drill it out of bounds. You get to 40. Like, let's go.
That's a great point.
Andres Pete jumps off sides. He hasn't played for a while. Super excited. It's like, oh, okay. That just killed a little bit of that mojo right off the bat.
Yeah.
But where I was going with the big picture stuff was Boz misses a field goal. You muff a punt. I think those guys are good at their job, especially Boz. The defense, I thought, played quite well, but there were holes. There were some big Vidal holes, and that's going to happen the longer you're out there. Eccles, I don't want to say he had bad luck. That's too kind. He got outplayed by McConkey.
Just didn't have his best day.
No, he got picked on. I would have liked to see more Warren. There's nitpicking stuff, but the reality is the Steeler passing game was horrendous. and that's why they lost. I mean, and frankly, Rodgers is the biggest culprit for that. He's not alone. I mean, the lack of a second receiver, I think, is pretty glaring. Early protection issues. Rodgers not playing his best game. Metcalf's been a little hit and miss. We can blame things, but Steeler passing game was the anchor here.
Yes, I think that's kind of a fair opening assessment by you here on a Monday. And you know what, too? It just, after that first drive where they were off, okay, and then second drive, you got pressure on the Chargers punter, forced a not-so-great punt, and got it at the plus territory at like the 45-yard line.
What more do you want?
You got 5 yards and had to settle for a 59-yard. You started with the ball in Chargers territory and still had to kick a 59-yard field goal. I mean, from those first two drives and then the safety, which was just bad all around, bad on pass pro, bad on Aaron, bad on everybody involved.
Yes, it was a horrible play.
The offense just after that, I don't even want to say that like they looked shook, they looked rattled. They just never found any momentum. They never found any level footing. Matt, it kind of looked like the first couple of days of training camp back in July when the offense just they were obviously at that point a completely new unit with a new quarterback, a new DK Metcalf and Jonnu Smith and all these important pieces. But you and I remember like those first 3 or 4 days of training camp were rough for the offense, and so they started to push back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was like those first few days of training camp. They couldn't even find level footing. They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't do anything well other than Jaylen Warren making an occasional guy miss and turning a 4-yard run into an 8-yard run.
Yeah, I think you're 100% dead on. And as you're sitting there talking about it, I'm sitting there thinking, like, back in the day when battles were fought, like, you go to that side and we go to this side and we'll just shoot each other until we get in the middle and then we'll stab each other like crazy,
like in the Patriot?
Right, yeah. Or even like, Braveheart back in the day, But it felt like...
Where are you going? I'm going to pick a fight.
Exactly. But it feels like your general got whacked way too early. And by that, I mean Rodgers. Like, I bet I wasn't there. I have great, immense respect for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure he doesn't think that was his best performance. It wasn't.
No,
it's the worst he's played in a very long time.
Absolutely.
At any level. But I bet that they felt that in the huddle. I bet that he felt that he wasn't his best. I mean, and everyone points to that guy. I'm sure Ben had those days. Brady's had those days. It's just, who your leader is.
Absolutely. But the one thing I will say, though, is that when Ben had a bad day, you still had Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward and Heath Miller.
Yeah,
when Ben had a bad day, you
point.
Still had AB and Lev Bell and Juju and Martavis Bryant. And when Aaron has a bad day, again, other than Jaylen Warren making lemonade out of lemons, you don't have much to hang your hat on.
No, you sure didn't last night.
And when Jaylen Warren's the only one who's kind of able to, make chicken salad out of chicken scratch, that's not a good place to be. You and I both love Jaylen Warren, but when he's your guy, when he's your guy on offense, when he's your best player on offense, that's not a great sign overall.
And I don't think you're saying this either. Like, I don't think their offensive players are crappy or the worst in the league. Or, I mean, Fautanu, Frazier, tight end room, Metcalf, etc. But who's the elevator, and who do you look for when Ben doesn't have his fastball? Well, we'll give it to Jerome, or we'll just run
give it to Lev Bell, or
we'll run behind Faneca, and we'll be okay.
Throw a 4-yard slant to AB, and he'll find a way to turn it into a 40-yard slant.
Or I'm not having my best day, but they still fear all the guys around me more, so I got time to get my footing and those type of things too. And just like you said, I adore Warren. I've been begging for him to get more touches since he's been a Steeler.
He's one of the more underrated players in the NFL.
Yes. But you don't want to be your best guy.
Correct.
I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want Boz to be the MVP
I was just gonna say,
you know what I mean? Right.
Hey, everybody on YouTube, same church, different pew of the Chris Boswell conversation. I'm sorry, I had to.
I mean, Warren's never going to be last year's Saquon Barkley or Bijan.
Jonathan
Taylor.
What I
mean? Right. I mean, he's a really good player. I love him. But if that's all you have to hang your hat on, you're not going to beat the Chargers. You might beat the Browns.
Particularly when you're -3 in the turnover department.
Of course.
And I think you're right. I certainly think the Steelers' defense held up for long enough. But
they're on the field all the time.
TJ Watt talked about it after the game, too. That's something that they won't publicly state, because then that makes it seem like you're throwing your offense under the bus.
Right.
But TJ Watt saying after the game, like, we can't be just relying on turnovers. We can't be a defense that sinks or swims with turnovers. We saw that play out last night, too.
Yeah, but I thought down to down they were better, though. I mean, because a lot of the year it was just like, giving away completions like Halloween candy, or they're getting gashed in the run game, and
Herbert
they can't get off the field.
didn't take the game over. He
No.
played well, but
he
wasn't playing at an all-pro level, just dicing you up. There's nothing we can do about it.
It wasn't the Jamar Chase situation.
Correct.
Or, you know what I mean? It
Correct.
was, if you guys could get some first downs on offense, we can hang on this side of the ball.
Yes.
And those Vidal runs, and they didn't destroy you, but there was 8 or 9 of them where the hole was
his
pretty
longest
big.
run of the day was 12 yards.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like he busted a 30 or 40-yard back-breaking, terrible moment run.
But if it was a Marion Hampton, maybe he would have. You know what I mean? Like, he's also not the best back in the league either. You know?
Good point.
But still, I mean, I wasn't thrilled about the holes he was running through. There were some big ones, but that's just from being on the field a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good individual defensive performances. If you just watch Cam, Benton, Black, all 3 edge dudes, Pierre, the safeties, a lot of guys played a good game on that side of the ball. I mean, a good game, not just like not too bad game, you know?
I completely agree. Liked what we saw from our guy Kyle Duggar as well, too.
Yeah,
again. But yeah, is it 19 more offensive snaps that the Chargers ran? Is that correct?
That sounds about right.
I looked at the stat pack on the plane before I got 90 minutes of sleep.
Okay.
They haven't outsnapped an opponent all season, right?
All season.
And I think they've only won time of possession once.
Right. It's only get worse if you don't remedy that.
Especially when you have a veteran-laden defense.
That's the thing. I mean, it's a terrible.
Most of your best players on defense are on the other side of 30.
Yeah.
And those
of
extra
all the categories to be bad in, that's going to be one of the worst for this.
Those extra 15, 20 snaps a game. Yeah. Now 2 months into the season.
Right.
That's 200 extra snaps potentially.
Right. That's 3 more games.
Yeah.
You ask them to play. Instead of a 17-game schedule, you pay a 20-game schedule.
Right.
What do you think's going to happen? I mean, injuries and missed tackles, and it's a hard game. One snap's hard to play.
Totally.
One snap is hard to play.
I'm with you. Every snap's a car crash, man.
Right,
You're getting into 15 to 20 more car crashes a game over the course of a couple months. That adds up, again, especially when you're a veteran defense by nature.
30-plus-year-olds. Yeah, right.
Let's take a break here. When we return on the other side, we will talk to Rob King, the voice of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see who got more sleep between him and I last night, and catch up with King or get all his thoughts on Chargers 25, Steelers 10, a loss for the Steelers on Sunday Night Football as they fall to 5-4. We'll talk about this in hour number 2, but don't look now, and that division lead is slim as slim could be. Kinger on the other side. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here as we roll along on Monday, recapping the Steelers' loss on Sunday Night Football out there at beautiful SoFi Stadium in beautiful Southern California. Joining us now to discuss is the voice of your Pittsburgh Steelers, Rob King. And I mean, Kinger, the loss was tough, but was maybe going from 75-degree weather to landing in a snowstorm even worse?
No. So first of all, I have to say, you said beautiful SoFi. That was my first trip there.
Incredible.
And, I have sort of an anachronistic streak to me. Like, I grew up with parents who watch black and white movies, so I like black and white movies and things like that. So I get a thrill out of going to, like, Mile High, where I've watched a ton of games over the years, and even New England, which is, but the outdoor stadiums and how cool they are, and everything now is so modern. But that place is phenomenal. That place is out of sight. But yeah, that was about the highlight, walking in and seeing those. So the stadium is like, there's an open air, it's like a tent over the top.
Looks like a stingray over the top of it.
Like a pavilion.
Yeah. And so breeze blows through there, and then they have this big, like, oval-shaped LED sensation that rings the entire stadium. So if you're on the field level and watching up, you can see it on the inside of the ring. And then if you're sitting in the stands, you're watching the outside of the ring and all LED lights. So they were playing football games, that were going on before obviously we had the night game. So, you could watch the football games going on in the LED lights. Obviously they had advertisements and other things. It just looked like something out of a different century. But again, that was pretty much the highlight of the night, was seeing SoFi.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was definitely a tough watch on TV. I'm sure Steeler Nation is down. But we're only halfway through the season. We were talking on another show that this is a very, very week-to-week league, and this is a very week-to-week team. And it hasn't just been one thing. Like, they got the worst corners in the league, and they're never going to get another one, and they're just going to get tortured all year. It's been a real whack-a-mole situation when things haven't gone well for this team. It's not just one thing, and I think that's kind of promising.
Yeah, I never know whether you're better off having one problem to fix. Hey, this is our problem and we need to fix it, or a bunch of little things to clean up. I think, Matt, and I was a big one for this last year during the 5-game losing streak, that the offense just wasn't out on the field enough.
Time of possession to me is their biggest problem.
Yeah, I look back to the game against Philadelphia, and you started with 5 consecutive 3-and-outs, right? And then you clawed back to within a touchdown, and you pitch it to Najee Harris, who never fumbles. I think they were right around the 20-yard line of the Eagles. You're trying to go in and tie it, and he fumbles, and the defense comes out now. And yes, would you like to rise up and make a stop there and get it right back to your offense? Yeah. But those 5 3-and-outs, those are like, I think in a way they're like, body blows that a boxer throws early in a match, right? They don't score well with the judges, but they take their toll for later on. And I just think that if I was going to point to one issue with the Steelers, you say, well, you can't live on turnovers, like TJ Watt evidently said last night. I didn't see the comments. I heard
that is
Aaron
what he
Rodgers,
said. Yes,
Mike Tomlin. Yeah, and I get that, but if you get leads, and they've created turnovers. They've created turnovers in close games. That's difficult to do. If you get leads, and if you control the clock, and if you keep your defense fresh, if you win time of possession, if you don't go 3-and-out, those turnovers will follow. Your defense will be fresher. The other team will be more one-dimensional. More turnovers happen, I think, in that way than in other ways. So I just think a lot of it, it's not the only thing, but I think a lot of whatever ails the Steelers, who, again, Matt, as you pointed, they are 5-4 and they are still in first place. But whatever ails them, I think that's the root of a lot. I don't want to oversimplify it, but I think that's a root of a lot of their troubles. They've just got to stop going 3-and-out and punting the ball away.
Like if a genie came out of a bottle right now and be like, "I'll grant you one Steeler wish." I might be like, "Give me Pat Mahomes," but the realistic would be like, "Let's fix this time of possession mess."
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think it helps you offensively, and I think it helps you defensively. And I think it's the one thing you can say. Well, you can say, well, we need better play here, better play there. The receivers need to get more, whatever you want to say. I think a lot of that is cured if you simply possess the ball longer. You're driving deeper. You're winning the field position battle. You're scoring more points. You're making the other team more one-dimensional. You're resting your defense that's going to play better when it's rested. All of those things happen when you win the time of possession. When you not necessarily win the time of possession, when you just start getting more first downs. You know? I think that's just stop going 3-and-out. Vary it a little bit. Even if you go 6-and-out, at least that's 2 more minutes. Your defense isn't on the field. Mm-hmm. So I think if I was going to grant one wish, I agree with you. It would be fewer 3-and-outs, possessing the ball longer. Mike Tomlin was asked last night, "Hey, how come you didn't run the ball more? It was effective." Well, it was effective, but it's chicken and egg. In order to run the ball more, you got to get first downs. You have to have more plays. They had 50 plays last night, and how many of those talk about dictating terms and turning a team one-dimensional? They weren't going to run the ball their last couple drives. They were going to throw it. So
I've been getting that question all year, and I'm sure everyone's had these conversations too. Like, man, they got to give Freiermuth more touches. They need to give Warren more touches. why is Washington only getting 2 targets a game? Or let's get Gainwell involved. Or, let's throw Roman Wilson. We got to get him the football. I'm like, they only ran 50 plays. I mean,
15 extra plays would go a long way in
right.
that regard.
If they could get to 70 plays a game, we can grant you all those wishes and get it to everybody.
Exactly.
Right.
It really is
it's a
true.
small pie.
Right. Jalen Warren was just the latest example of that last night, that question. And, Mike Tomlin was frustrated. He said, yeah, we've been over this ground. When you only run a minimal amount of plays, there's only going to be a minimal amount of ball to go around. Right. So, I think that's the root of the issues. And listen, you either fix it or you don't. I mean, the beauty about the NFL, the beauty about any sport is you got to go out and play and you got to go out and win. Right. That's it. That's the bottom line. And the Steelers have done a nice job of working around that up to this point of the season, of taking advantage of the turnovers, of the offense being more opportunistic than overpowering. I mean, they were something like 28th or 27th in yards per game, but I think they were 13th in points per game. So they were taking advantage of things. Well, you also have to be able to create on your own, right? You can't just, and again, I keep saying, I said this earlier, if you create on your own, you will then get more turnovers to take advantage of, So I just think that's, to me, that's what it boils down to. Like the offense has got to it's got to pick up a larger share right now.
So I just looked it up, Rob, and this probably won't shock you or anybody, and it's not much different than last week when we talked about it, but I just did offensive plays per game, and the site that I use updated this morning. So it got all yesterday's games, didn't get tonight's game. Chargers lead the league, 66 offensive plays per game. That's number one. Steelers are 32nd, 55 plays per game. That's behind Miami, Baltimore, Vegas. I mean,
and again, 11 plays on the surface might not seem like a ton, but when it's over the course of 10 games,
they played 9. That's 99 different games. Right.
Yeah.
Or 17 games. That's 170 games or 170 plays. That's 3 extra games you have to play. That's like a 20-game season for your defense.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it, and absolutely right. And it's why, why is the defense gassed and you're giving up a lot of points in the fourth quarter? Because that's a statistic too. There's one reason.
Huge.
Why aren't you scoring more points? There's one reason. Why isn't Warren getting more rushes? Well, there's one reason. I mean, it all comes back to that reason, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it. Now, not all of it. You can't explain everything on that, but it's not a cure all, but I think it's a cure a lot. I really do.
Mm-hmm. And it's a team stat, though. Like Wes and I have been talking about this all year. You go into the doctor and say, my time of possession hurts. And he's like, well, you should run the ball better and stop the run. I mean, it's a team thing.
That's a symptom. Let's diagnose it.
Yeah,
here.
exactly. So, I mean, early in the season, it was the defense couldn't get off the field. Lately, the offense can't sustain drives,
Right.
Yeah,
and, I thought in particular, and this was what, as I was looking at that first Jets game, no Harmon, remember that the last image we have of the Steelers is the Eagles and the Ravens just running all over them. The Jets are built that way. What are they going to do? Even with an injury, they're going to run the ball right at the Steelers, and they were able to do it successfully. And then, Seattle, they've got a solid all-around game. But early on, I thought that would be, you have Jackson Smith and Jacobs having it sensational. You're so Sam Darnold, too, for that matter. But I figured that would be their approach. And then when the Steelers began to get some more balanced team, they ripped off 4 games in a row, doing a really good job defensively, a really good job against the run. And then, at 2 out of the last 3 games, and I'll even say 2.5 out of the last 3 games because, or I should say 2.5 out of the last 4 games, right? So for half, you did a great job against the Packers. In the second half, Emmanuel Wilson, wasn't Jacobs that killed you, it was Emmanuel Wilson. Against Cincinnati, it was Chase Brown. You did a great job against Taylor, but they ran the ball more successfully than I would have liked last night with Vidal. So, I thought the trend was in the right direction, and I think that they did a lot of those things in those 4 weeks. And Cincinnati, you can't blame that on the offense. I don't think you can't say, well, Chase Brown ran the ball because the Steelers defense was exhausted. So it's like you said, it's not just one thing. but I lean toward that being, overall, as we're looking at this team through 9 games, that's the one right there. Let's get some more first downs here, fewer 3-and-outs. They know that. After a while, you begin to wonder if it's a little bit like a guy in a slump. Now they always say he's squeezing the bat in baseball.
Gripping the club too tight, Kinger, as you approach the fairway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need to. I did. Unfortunately, my iron play was atrocious this year. Anyway, it's you wonder if it's like a self-manifesting sort of thing. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that I truly believe that if they get more first down, and listen, that was a bad game last night. I think Aaron Rodgers has been fantastic, way better than I think most people expected him to be. That wasn't his sharpest game. He wasn't the only one to blame, but he's got broad shoulders. He took it on himself last night. He wasn't sharp. I think that, and there were mitigating circumstances. Guys, every once in a while you gotta help out a guy too, and the Steelers didn't do that particularly well. It's a game that I would like to say it was a one-off, because it's the one game this year where that's really happened. That really hasn't happened all year. So let's hope it's a one-off, and then you can get back to scoring some points and hopefully sustaining some drives against the Bengals.
I was going to say, that's an offense. The good news is you have a defense coming up that's ripe for the picking. That's the good news.
Yeah,
right.
It's even worse than you saw him last time, by the way, this defense.
Yeah, but the problem is that offense is better than any we've seen, maybe except for the Colts. Actually, lately, it's even better than the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we saw it. That was at the head of this little stagger that hopefully it's just a stagger and the Steelers right themselves and walk the path confidently toward the playoffs and an AFC North title. But, listen, the other thing is that while you've been losing games, Cincinnati's lost 2 in a row. Think about that right now if you're Cincinnati, right? And they totally, completely blew that game, the last game. They're 1 game out. If they win one of the last 2 games in which they scored 80 points and lost them both, if you win either one of those games, you're tied with the Ravens. You're 2-0 in the division. But even so, with only 2 games out, don't you think they're thinking, wait a minute, we got new life. Burrow's back at practice. We win
Burrow's
this
back
game.
at practice tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Right. We win this game against the Steelers. We got the hope in the form of Burrow coming back. Hey, we're only 1 game out of first place, regardless of what the Ravens do. You still got to play the Ravens. Suddenly, you're the Bengals. You're like, hey, man, we don't necessarily control our destiny, because you can only pull within a game of the Steelers, but we feel pretty good about our chances of winning. It doesn't matter if 7-10 wins the division. Something's going to win the division, and someone's going to get to the playoffs. And if you're the Bengals, you've been kind of dragged into this thing. As much as you tried not to be in it, right now going into Sunday's game, you got to think you're in it.
Rob King, voice of your Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, Kinger, before we let you go real quick, because I told Matt I'd bring this up at some point today before I forget. Pretty cool scene Saturday night at the second floor in Huntington Beach, where we did our pep rally show. I mean, the second we got off the shuttle, we were getting shout-outs from people and high fives and fist bumps and asking for pictures and and all that stuff. And then, of course, about an hour after us, Ryan Shazier shows up, and it just turns into an absolute mob scene. One thing about Steeler Nation, man, is you tell them when and where, and they show up. You say jump, and they ask how high. And it was pretty cool to just have so many people, talking about loving what we do here on the Steelers Audio Network and listening to us every day and all that kind of stuff.
It's incredible. I mean, it was a Steelers crowd last night. They just didn't give them enough to cheer for. When James Pierre pile drove Darius Davis on a jet sweep, the crowd rose to their feet. Towels were swirling. It was like a home game. The reaction, it was incredible.
It was like WrestleMania out there, brother.
It was great. And I've said this to people before, like the day that I actually on the bus, and maybe, I don't know, maybe, hopefully there's no psychiatrist listening that thinks I need an evaluation, but I'll be sitting I'm sitting on my seat and we're going to the game, and I'll like giggle every time we go to the game, because there's Steelers fans walking the sidewalks in whatever opposing town we're in, waving their towels, taking pictures, giving the thumbs up. And then you pull into the stadium, whatever stadium there is, even like, as I've said before, even the opposing team acknowledging that the Steelers are number one, their fans, raising the wrong finger. They don't know which finger to raise when they're telling us the Steelers are number one. But then right next to them is the Steelers tailgate. They got the towels waving, and it's you leave the hotel and there's mobs of fans at whatever hotel the Steelers are at, cheering the team on, hanging out in the lobby, hoping to get a glimpse of, TJ Watt or Jalen Ramsey or Aaron Rodgers. It's incredible, man. And that event, you go and they're just the energy they bring. And, we had a group of fans. They're from Mexico, right? And another group from Northern California. They were in New York for the Jets rally.
For our Jets Road Warriors show.
California for the California rally. So I know, people say, the Steelers fans travel well, and other people say, well, they don't travel well, they live there. Well, both are true, and both can be true. Yes, Steelers fans left in the 70s with the economic hardships, and they've kept their fandom, God bless them, throughout the country. But they're traveling too. It's both, and it's a joy to be part of.
No,
pretty cool.
Certainly is. Certainly, you should have seen Rob King, man. I mean, paparazzi was out. He was taking so many pictures and shaking so many hands and kissing so many babies.
This get together sounded awesome.
Standing behind Wes and Missy. My goodness.
Missy actually was the star of the show.
Really?
Everybody wanted a picture with Missy, I tell you.
Yeah. Getting brushed aside. I felt we're getting brushed off so that they could get. Yeah, it was great. Oh, it was wonderful. And Ryan Shazier was fantastic. And, what a great ambassador for the Steelers. Totally gets it. Stood there patiently, took all the pictures with all the fans, gabbed. He would have stayed there all night if they let him. I mean, seriously, he's a great ambassador too. So yeah, great event. Everything was wonderful right up until they played, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then we got to sit on the shuttle for 70 minutes with Shazier and talk a little college football to put a cap on the night. It was delightful.
He and his buddy with Wes, Matt. It should. I wish we had some kind of podcast camera up. It was priceless. Ryan Shazier sticking up for the Big Ten, his buddy telling him the SEC is better. Wes fueling the fire with the occasional fact check. We had a show there. We had a show in the making. It was highly entertaining. Yeah, highly entertaining.
We'll launch that podcast next year. Rob King, hey, man, thanks so much. Get some rest, all right? We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, brother. Thanks, guys. Talk to you.
There he goes, King in the castle. He definitely slept less than me because he had to do DVE and
he's been on
your guys' show.
Radio all morning, yeah. He definitely slept less than you, yeah.
I
bet he's hanging it up
Him
now,
and I were like walking to our cars at like 6:30.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, Pursuita's getting ready to do his first sports hit here in a second.
Listen to that on the way home.
We haven't even gone to bed yet. We'll close down the first hour, continue to just dissect everything from a disappointing Sunday night out on the coast. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here of the first hour on a commiseration Monday as the Steelers fall to 5-4 and now just have a one-game lead atop of the AFC North. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on The Drive. All right, Matt, to close down the first hour here, I got a kind of pretty simple question for you.
Okay.
Follows up on what we've been spending a lot of the first 40 minutes or so of the show talking about here. Be Dr. Williamson for me here for a minute, okay? And the Steelers offense comes into your practice.
Yeah.
And they sit down and they go, we got this time of possession issue. We got this snap issue. Our opponents are running 10, 15 more offensive plays than us per game, sometimes 20. We were just out in L.A., Doctor, and the other offense possessed the ball for over 15 minutes more than we did.
Right, and this is getting to be common.
We've diagnosed it. How do we start to fix it? What's the remedy, Doctor?
Just on the offensive side of the ball? Because, over the course of the year, this is a team problem.
Fair.
And it always is. For much of the year, I would have blamed the defense more than I would have blamed the offense.
I think particularly like the month of September.
Right.
up through
these
Dublin.
last 2 weeks, the offense has really trended poorly. And I know they beat the Colts, and that got kind of swept under the rug on, Victory Monday 1 week ago. But the offense was not humming by any means.
They got set up by the defense with a lot of short
Right,
fields.
right.
And, yeah.
So this is a something that's been coming around for a while now. I have more if you would have asked me that question a month ago and said fix the defense to get them off the field, I have more answers.
Giving up too many third down conversions.
Yeah, I mean, play more zone, blitz less. Some of the things they actually went
inconsistent
and
in the run game, defense game.
Maybe rotate more dudes in. I mean, I have fewer answers for the offense though, because one thing I think that needs to happen that could actually hurt this conversation is I think they have to push the ball down the field a little bit more. Now, if it was last year, I might be like, we don't need all the Russ Moon balls. How about more of a short, controlled passing game to
How about some 5, 6, 7 yard completions on first down
to play off our running game and eat clock that way? And I don't think it's a 1-for-1 of the short passing game is an extension of the run game. It's not. I mean, I forget. I think I was with Tom doing the pregame show. That he hates that too. That just throw a lot of short passes. That's the same as running the ball. No, it's not.
No,
offensive
it's nice
linemen
when you can do
moving,
both.
Right. I mean,
run
offensive
the ball
linemen
and
are
complete those short passes.
Offensive linemen are going backwards in the passing. They're not coming off the ball and blasting dudes and wearing them down. Those are body blows. Yes, it helps your time possession. Get the ball in Fryermuth's hand on a tight end screen, and he doesn't go out of bounds. It eats too much time. Yep. Sure. Okay. I mean, but it
5,
doesn't
6 yards on first down.
But it doesn't bludgeon the opponent like Jerome Bettis behind a fullback and Thermani Dawson and
Sure.
the big time
Jonathan Taylor just demoralizing the Falcons over in Berlin for 3.5 hours.
So I don't have a wonderful answer because I definitely think playing with a lot of tight ends on the field, playing with the extra offensive linemen, all those things are moving the right direction. Less zone runs, more power and man blocking schemes. All that stuff's trending the right direction. And I'm not just blaming Rodgers, but I am kind of on a little bit of a soapbox in terms of run-pass ratio that I bet Rodgers is checking to a pass a lot. He's so smart, I do not want to neuter him in any way.
He's had a ton of success doing that for 20 years.
For a million years.
Yeah.
And, again, I feel like I'm picking on him when he's down, and that's not what I mean at all. But when the second half of the Packers game, Warren only gets 3 carries. There's probably some 50-50 situations where Rodgers decides to pass rather than run. Maybe you just have a heart to heart. Him and Arthur go in a room and say, let's just lean more run.
Yeah. You got to, especially situationally, we're up 9 points out of the halftime with the football.
Right,
If it's 50-50, run the ball.
Yeah, and I know this look isn't as great for the run or, if it's 51-49,
sure.
And
it's okay. Jalen Warren will make somebody miss.
Yeah, when in doubt, I don't mean to, neuter you at all, Aaron, but when in doubt, maybe we run the football 3% more, 5% more, something like that. And I blame Rodgers or mention him more than I do Arthur Smith, really for one reason. Both these guys have been doing their job for a long time, and running the ball less has never been a problem for Arthur Smith. Or running the ball the other way around. One guy's history is run. One guy's history is come to life.
Throw.
Right. So I'm not behind the scenes. I'm not in those offensive meetings.
Sure.
But I bet when the play comes in and then when it's distributed to the other 10 at the line of scrimmage, it might be a little pass happier than it should be. But I'm reaching. I mean, the offense to me doesn't have a quick fix, and that doesn't mean it can't get better because it has been better. I mean, they run the ball okay. I mean, I don't think they have terrible players on that side of the ball. You're not going to trade. I mean, I could go trade for a wide receiver. Well, that's not part of the answer,
sailed.
Right? Yeah.
No, you're working with what you got at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're the.
And I'll think about it more this week. Monday questions and when.
Sure.
When we get to Wednesday, Thursday,
I'm gonna go home and rewatch the game tonight.
Yeah, me too. Right.
Put the kids down, rewatch the game, and then flip the Monday Night Football. But yeah, it's kind of like I'm not a big Matt. Like I watch sports and like occasional good TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not someone who like watches a million different things on TV.
Okay.
So I hope this analogy lands. You know, like in cooking shows, there's a bazillion different cooking shows, but some of them, the premise is you get 4 or 5 chefs, and it's like, bang, here's the 3 ingredients you have, make dinner, and you have 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
They don't know what the ingredients are going to be like, and here's the
They
ingredients.
don't get the game print. They don't get to practice all week.
Right, they can't run to the fridge and get more chicken breast or get peppers or mushrooms or whatever kind of.
Practice the 6-0 line sets all week to use against the Chargers.
Like you right now on offense. Here's your ingredients. That's what you got. Mm-hmm. There's no walk-in cooler where you can go get more at this point.
Right, that's true. And if anything, we're going to take ingredients from you as the year goes on.
Totally. Right, and that's the scary part to think about it. If you get a couple guys banged up, and that's the challenge to me right now, because you have talent on that offense, absolutely. But it's also not the killer bee era of where your Jimmies are so much better than so many of the opposition's Joes.
Yeah, right.
You know, you got Ben and Bell and AB and a great offensive
like
line.
Martavis and Juju are your like 4th and 5th pass catchers, and Heath Miller. I'm like, those are the guys down the line.
Correct.
Like, that's not bad.
Correct.
All right.
And so to me now, it has to get back to doing what you've done best when your ingredients have, yielded the best meal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been running the football with Jaylen Warren. That's been getting your tight ends active. I think particularly Darnell Washington.
Yeah.
And they got to find a way to put DK Metcalf in a better position to succeed, I think, as well, too. I think there's been a little too much, and this is probably recent history just over the last couple weeks, because DK Metcalf did have some monster performances this season, no doubt. But I think they're square peg and round holing with him a little too much. A little too much 50-50 contested balls. A little too much back shoulder stuff. That's
just
not
because he's big doesn't mean he goes up and plucks
that fourth down
Larry
back shoulder pass last night. That's not his strength.
That's how he does well. He runs past people. He runs over people. He does a lot of things really, really well. But just because he's big doesn't mean that he high points footballs like he's George Pickens or Larry Fitzgerald. You know what I mean? It doesn't do that.
If I've got salmon, Matt, I can't try and prepare it like it's a pork shoulder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, as you were saying that, I bet if Wolf or Merrill Hodge was sitting right here, and frankly, if Chuck Noll was sitting right here,
Sure.
and I know this is not 1978 anymore, 1985, but those guys would always say, which is just directly from Noll, being coached by Chuck Noll, is when things were going wrong on offense, we would get back to our 2 or 3 best run plays.
Yeah.
It's just, instead of looking at the Cheesecake Factory menu, we're going to make the steak that we made for a million years that we're good at, and we're going to start from
potatoes,
there.
green beans.
We're going to start from there. It doesn't mean that's all we're going to run, but we're going to start with our best run play and go from there. And then we'll start building again,
Yep. I
understand that logic.
I think there's a lot of merit to that. And then you build off of that, getting your tight ends involved off of play action and things like that.
Yeah,
and you build off of that.
And you have one more layer. But let's get, what is our thing that we do the best in the ground game on offense?
Ribeye, baked potato, green beans.
Yeah, maybe it's lasagna, and whatever it is, whatever you're best at. It doesn't have to be, and that's a Nollism,
By the way, food at SoFi, outstanding.
You took a picture of like the candy situation.
That was just the candy situation.
Yeah, which was pretty strong.
Boxes and boxes of Nerds gummy clusters, of course. That's why I had to send you guys the pictures. But all the candy in the world that you could imagine. The food was outstanding. It was like steak and meatloaf and potatoes and green beans.
Are they the best host in the league?
Yeah, for
when
sure.
you talk about the venue, the house they invite you to, the dinner they give you.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's some good ones.
The wine they pour.
I love it. I love Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta serves this flank steak with chimichurri sauce for every game, and it is maybe the best single menu item that I've had around the league. Wings in Buffalo are good. Crab cakes in Baltimore are good. But SoFi just, from the house that they invite, it's a good way to put it, from the house that they invite you to, from the food that they serve you, halftime as well, too. It's like chicken and cheeseburger sliders.
Nice.
With like 7 different kinds of French fries, whatever French fry you could imagine, wedges, curly fries, tater tots. They got it all.
I mean, I know it's true here, but the halftime stuff's usually a little more lunch.
Yes.
Basic.
Yes.
A little bit cheaper. I mean, it's not.
And then after the game,
a carving station.
After the game, In-N-Out Burger food truck, too.
Wow.
So, like, they're making the burgers right off the food truck, and it's not like they've been sitting in a box for like an hour.
Yeah, here's not the box lunch.
They got the food truck, and they're like, whoop, whoop, You want the animal sauce on that? Here you go.
Okay.
That was
hungry.
That was
sounds so
that was
good.
much needed getting on the plane.
It's not a box with like a burger with next to an apple and a thing of chips.
Yeah, and the cheese has been melted into the plastic for 2 hours while it's sitting there all soggy. No, it was delicious.
This one just for you, Wesley, and throw it right at you. Right.
Here you go. Awesome. Now go away, or I will taunt you a second time. French fries are not, and I bet you we'll get a bunch of tweets about this because In-N-Out splits a crowd. French fries are not the best there, but man, they're burgers.
I don't know it well.
Have you ever had it before or no?
Did we go in Indy?
No, it's not an Indy.
No, that's White Castle.
Yes, it's like Vegas and California and Arizona.
I've definitely not been. I've heard of tons about it, but okay, yeah.
Fries are like a 3 out of 10, not very good. I don't know why. I think they do them in like a healthier oil or something, West Coast, something goofy West Coast style. But their burgers are delicious. And so, yeah, I would highly recommend, Steelers are out there every couple years. I was texting my buddies, Matt, like, we should go to a World Cup game out here next year. Like, let's next year when the World Cup's in the United States this coming summer, let's fly out to California for 3 or 4 days, go to a World Cup game at SoFi. That would be amazing. Definitely worth the trip. And like I said, it was kind of a harsh reality of, you leave 70-some degree weather, sunny palm trees, and you land and like I'm slowing down on 79 because it's snowing at 7 a.m. and rush hour traffic's hitting, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Just let me get home.
Yeah, winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Yeah, and the dead are coming over the ice wall here pretty soon if you don't nip it in the bud. Yeah.
Good Lord. And they're wearing Bengal uniforms and dressed in orange and coming to the North Shore in just a few days. 1 hour in the books, another hour to go. We will continue to break this, get some just final regurgitation of thoughts before we go around the league and take
a lot going on.
Take a look as well too, Matt. Big Monday Night Football game tonight between the Packers and the Eagles. That's a 5-star matchup tonight. We'll get into all that and more.
Coach firing. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Brian Dable. All that and more in hour number 2. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. You are tuned into The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How you doing? Yeah, us too.
Probably been better, yeah.
Hour number 2 here on The Drive on a Commiseration Monday. All right, just a few more minutes of it, and then we'll turn the page, and then we'll start to, recover and get ready and get on with the week. But, Matt, a lot going on in the AFC North. I did want to go kind of, before we go around the league, go around the division, if you will. And let's start with significant news. Joe Burrow returns to practice off the bye week for the Bengals as his 21-day window to be activated by IR opens.
So that's today. I was thinking it starts tomorrow, but I forgot they're off their bye.
So they're allowed to practice
today.
They get the extra practice today.
Been on the field today.
Another wrinkle for the Steelers preparing for this Cincinnati team is that they're coming off their bye week.
I would think he doesn't play.
I would be shocked if he plays.
The window just opened.
But the window opened, and that obviously means he's not too far away. I mean,
that's way earlier than expected.
I was just going to say, originally when he got this injury, they were hoping he could maybe be back for like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Now this is potentially like 6 or 7 games. That's a
big deal.
Big deal for Cincinnati. I know. Again,
Flacco's played extremely well.
He has. That's the thing that kind of. I don't know how excited I'd be if I was a Bengals fan because obviously you want your franchise quarterback back out there.
Right.
But
I wish it was Aaron Donald coming back if I were them, or Jack Lambert.
You're putting up exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
A corner that can make a tackle. Somebody in the secondary.
Boys are D bad.
That's why I don't know, how I'd be feeling if I were, if this was like you always like to say sometimes CNR, Cincinnati Nation Radio or whatever, BNR, Bengals Nation Radio.
You, of course, just hand it to Burrow the second he wants.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But
But quarterback's not the problem.
Quarterback is not the problem. That's the simplest way to put it. But maybe it's a boost for that team overall. I mean, they are 3-6. But hey,
Rob's right though. If they beat the Steelers,
they come in here and beat the Steelers,
and
all
they're
of a sudden,
again, if it's BNR, we're going, well, we just beat this team. We'll rip up that defense. Flacco's fine. They can't cover Chase.
We have the tiebreaker over the Steelers with 2 head-to-head wins.
Yeah, right. And we're right back in this thing,
Yeah, man.
I didn't until Rob brought it up. I really haven't even thought of them as being back in this thing.
I didn't either.
They're a 2-game losing streak, I think.
They are on a 2-game losing streak, and like he said, even if they got one of those, man, if they were 4-5 right now, it's a completely different story. But they're come
alive.
to Acrisure Stadium on Sunday and win, they are still not dead yet.
I mean, I'm sure they're looking at it like, well, we had the bye week nice and late. We're going to make all kinds of defensive adjustments, and okay.
In other news for them, though, Zach Taylor saying defensive end Trey Hendrickson is doubtful for Sunday's game because of a hip injury.
Okay.
Suffered.
I figured he'd be back by then with the bye.
Yeah, I would too, because that was in the Jets game. So that was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
It'll be the third week coming up.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
I guess that's good news for Steelers, bad news for Hendrickson.
Yeah. So a lot going on for Cincinnati out of their bye week, and plenty to keep an eye on there, which we will obviously discuss more and more as the week goes along. Matt, the Baltimore Ravens won their third straight game in Minnesota, 27-19 over the Vikings. They are now 4-5, and unfortunately, they look like they have a little bit of life.
Putting it together. Yeah, they have a lot of life, and part of it's because of the way the division's gone. Most of it's just on their own accord that they're a good team, and we never thought they were as bad as they were on those terrible and getting hammered by the Texans by like 40 points.
Sure.
You knew that was a one-off type of situation or just a bad time. I don't know if they're a contender. Minnesota did them a lot of favors.
They lost the turnover margin -3, didn't they?
I
or
think so.
-2 at
yeah.
least.
I mean, they had they had like 7 or 8 false starts at home, and it was not a Ravens crowd. I mean, they played a very sloppy game. Not that Baltimore shouldn't have won.
Woo! They had 13 penalties for 102 yards, the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, I knew it was bad.
Wolf, and they lost the turnover margin by -3.
Yeah.
Hey, the fact that it was still a one-score game, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't think like Lamar and company were dominant in this game.
They were just efficient and took what
Are
Minnesota
you looking
gave
at the box score? Though?
I am.
What
yes.
was Lamar's just his basic line?
17 of 29, buck 76, 1 touchdown. He also ran 9 carries for 36 yards.
I saw some blurb or something I was listening to that they didn't think he threw the ball all that great, and from what I saw, I didn't think he was phenomenal. He will be, don't get me wrong, but
still knocking off some rust.
Right. But I don't think they're one of the best teams in the league all of a sudden. But they're right back in the thick of things as we probably should have assumed they would be, like Jason Voorhees or something.
And their schedule pretty favorable these next few weeks. They go to Cleveland this weekend, then they host the Jets, then they host the Bengals, then they host the Steelers, 3 straight home games.
They're going to go 2-0.
Then they go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay, they have to host New England. That looks like a tough one now.
Yeah.
They have to go to Green Bay. Obviously, going to be tough.
A lot of division stuff coming up though, which will make or break their season. But
Cleveland, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals.
Yeah, it's a lot of their AFC North stuff.
If they navigate that well, though, then they get a big 3-game stretch. What could be Patriots at home, Packers on the road, Steelers on the road.
Okay. Part of me still thinks the division's going to come down to week 18.
I do too.
And
I told you, I jinxed this, man, because the last few years, that's been a big game, Steelers-Ravens, end of the year. I understand why the NFL does it.
Oh, sure.
But I've told you, it's the thing that I love college football. It's my favorite spectator sport in the world. But it drives me nuts how so often you don't know kickoff time until 6 days before the game.
Yeah.
I think it's such hogwash. I think it's such a farce. I think the tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people that make these games possible in different college towns across deserve to know more than 6 days out when the kickoff time is going to be.
Joe average 19-year-old fan of Southern Miss needs to know these
Or,
things, right?
Matt Williamson, who's going to visit his son at Kentucky, and if it's a noon game, he's going to get a hotel the night before.
Right.
But if it's a 7 o'clock game, you're just going to drive out the morning of.
And the hotel prices change. And
Exactly right. Exactly right. But when the Steelers were 4-1, and this is on me, hand up, all right, my fault. When the Steelers were 4-1 and the Ravens were 1-4, I said to Dan Quinlan and Max and Rob, I was like, hey, maybe we finally won't have a Saturday night, 8 o'clock game against Baltimore that last week of the season. Maybe it'll just be the Sunday 1 o'clock because it won't mean anything. Now it's looking like it's going to be one of those primetime games that week 18, flex schedule as well.
And frankly, if the Steelers don't play better than they did last night, we won't have
That's
one.
also a fair point.
Baltimore
could have the thing wrapped up by then, which is, man, that's a scary thought to think
but
of.
If they play like they did against Colts just 8 days ago, we might not have that problem either. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mentioned this on our show.
It's a weird spot to be.
But the show I did with Mike and Rob, we ended the show, and this is a big Rob King thing. I think the more he gets sucked in with the NFL and the less he does with other leagues and things, he's blown away by how week to week the NFL is. And I think this year's more than ever. Miami beats Buffalo.
Yeah, smoked Buffalo.
Smoked them bad. It really wasn't even close.
We'll get to that in a minute.
And when we go around the league, there'll be a lot of these things. Packers lost to the Panthers 2 weeks ago.
And the Browns, and yeah.
So we ended the show by saying the Steelers are an extremely week-to-week team in an extremely week-to-week league.
It's a great way to put it.
And I just think that the last 2 weeks couldn't be more true with this football team.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Matt, last one for the AFC North here before we take a break and go around the league. The Browns go to New York. Remember, we talked about this. The Jets hadn't won a home game all year. The Browns hadn't won a road game all year. Something had to give, of course, unless they tied. But the Jets get it done. Despite that fire sale, they win their second straight game, 27-20 over the Browns. And, man, the Browns at 2-7 now. It is all over but the crying.
Yeah, they're done. They're definitely cooked. I wonder if it'll be Shador time sooner or later. I don't think anyone's going to be shocked, but this was the game I spent the least time paying any attention to.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'll learn more about it as the day and next 24 hours goes on. But I think that, I was watching fantasy stuff. Like, Garrett Wilson came back, didn't catch a pass, was in and out of the lineup. And my buddy who has him in our league, he's like, did I start Garrett Wilson while he's still injured? He's inactive. I'm like, no. They've only thrown 8 passes.
Yes.
It just...
They had 6 receptions on the day.
Okay. I knew it was extremely low.
And one of them was Breece Hall on that screen that he took 42 yards to the house.
Right.
If you take that away, Matt, they had 12 yards passing. You take away that one Breece Hall play, they had 12 yards passing the rest of the day.
5 completions
for 12 yards.
Was that all Fields?
Did
he get bumped?
Jarring. That was all Fields. He threw the ball 11 times. Now, to be fair, it was cats and dogs rain there.
I get it. Right.
But Fields was 6 of 11 for 54 yards. But like I said, one of those was a 42-yard completion to Breece Hall.
Wow. Now, we'll
Breece
probably
Hall
get to it in the next
segment.
segment.
On his back.
We'll probably get to it in the next segment, but Seattle might be the best team in the league. Sam Darnold threw 12 passes in that game, and they scored 44 points.
I'm looking on my phone and I'm seeing Seattle lighting it up, and I've got Sam Darnold starting on one of my big money fantasy leagues, and I'm like,
didn't do well.
I'm like, oh nice, he's probably killing it for me. And then I looked and he's got 4 points. I was like,
right.
wait, how's this possible?
I think he threw a touchdown to Smith and Jigba,
but then he
nobody
had 2
else.
fumbles, which
and the defense scored twice, and they ran all over him. They scored 44 points. He threw the ball 12 times, and just a dominant Seattle game.
Lord, but yeah, a weird one for the Browns, for the Jets.
Yeah, they're two bad football teams.
Two bad football teams. I'm with you. I think it's time to see what you got in Shador, man.
Just to see.
Just to see. His dad was down in Morgantown on Saturday. Didn't go so well for him.
Yeah.
Not those Mountaineers. Not those Mountaineers winning 2 games in a row. They call that a winning streak. It has been done before. Let's go around the league when we return, Matt. We'll go over the entire gambit of all these games, and like you said, a real week-to-week league.
Very much so.
Every single Monday we come in here and do this. There's some head-scratching results.
I don't envy the power rankers for tomorrow.
Woo! Yeah, we will have fun. We will have fun going over that list. I think you might be right, though. Seattle might be top of that list.
Seattle and the Rams are both real impressive.
Rams impressive performance as well, too. Good call by you. We'll get into all of that.
We got a good game tonight, too, that might change that. Maybe we'll be like, oh, the Eagles are awesome.
No doubt. Unleash some of their new weapons there on Monday Night Football. All that and more when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Time to go around the league, but before we do so, Matt, I can't believe we made it, an hour and a half into this show almost, and I haven't told you this yet.
Oh.
Just shared a couple, in and out anecdotes and Steelers Road Warrior party with you. I didn't tell you the coolest thing that happened this weekend.
Bring it on.
Yesterday, and I know I've painted this picture for you before for TV. You guys have heard the stories and everybody who's at home listening. But when the game ends on the road, okay,
I know you're frantic then, right?
It's a fever pitch environment. We, Max and Rob stay on the headsets and do a brief post-game synopsis. until Mike Tomlin gets to his podium for his post-game press conference.
Yep.
That's usually about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes after the final whistle.
But it's
after
not a set time. It's
no,
not, it's
but after
the
coaches shake hands at midfield, we go to break, we come back, we get final thoughts with Missy Matthews, we go to break, and then those two kind of fill until Coach Tomlin's at the podium.
And I assume Tomlin shakes hands with the coach,
Talks
talks
to the
to the team for
team.
as long as he wants,
Immediately.
then gets with Bert, goes to the podium or whatever.
Correct. And so as soon as, Tom, as soon as Tommy Radio, Tommy Opferman says, throw it to coach, he's at the podium, we've got like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes tops to get everything in the broadcast booth broken down. All the headsets, everything cleaned up and put away.
Packaged to get on a plane.
A 400-pound rack on wheels.
Yeah.
To an elevator, which is always chaos because there's a million people going in a million different directions, down to the bowels of the stadium, get our rack to the Steelers equipment truck, and then hopefully grab a little bite to eat and get on the bus. And buses don't leave you to go to the plane
Because they will leave without you. Sure.
It hasn't happened to me. Where's all the wood? Knock on my head. Knock all the wood in here. All right, I need to go out in the hallway and find a wooden door handle. We have not gotten left behind this is my 4th year now traveling, but it has happened in the past before.
But they're leaving. Yeah.
You got about probably 50 to 60 minutes from, again, the time that Mike Tomlin is shaking hands with that opposing coach at midfield to when the buses are rolling out. About 50, 60 minutes. And unless
at home, you could take your time a little bit.
At home, we could take. Obviously, because you're just going out back to your car, and I have to stay. I have to stay and produce the post game show with Charlie Batch.
But there's no deadline.
And Pursuta, there's no deadline. So it's two different worlds in that regard. Home games, it's like very relaxed, take your time. You got plenty of time. Road games, it's like your rat race.
Let's go
against the clock. So we're doing all that, packed up, all that stuff. Rob and Max usually help out, and Quinlan kind of directs me because, again, I'm pushing a 400-pound rack and we got stuff on top of it. I'm like looking around a blocking sled trying to see.
Yeah.
So like Max lead blocks for me, and like Rob's behind me, Quinlan's beside me, and we're 4 years of this, we're a well-oiled machine.
I'm sure, yeah.
At this point.
Everyone knows what job to do.
We're cooking it through the bowels of the stadium. Like get this to the equipment truck, get your in and out.
Then you can
burger.
exhale. Yeah.
Then you can exhale and hopefully inhale some good food, some good post-game meal. So tunnel vision, rat race, in the zone. We're in the bowels of the stadium. I'm pushing this thing, 100 miles an hour. Like half the time, Quinlan and Rob yell at me to slow down. Like, it's okay. You don't have to jog through the stadium with this thing. I'm
mow someone down.
I'm moving, man. I'm telling you. Like, I'm like in the Olympic speed walking competition. I'm moving. And we hear hey guys, take care. Everybody be good. And I look over, and Troy Polamalu's standing right there with his sons.
Oh, yeah.
And, says goodbye to Max and, high-fives us and is like, see you guys, take care, be good, safe travels. So,
they showed him in the stands, yeah.
Right as we're hustling and fever pitch and we got to get out of here, get on the bus and everything.
You probably slammed on the brakes from your speed
Slammed
walk.
on the brakes real quick, got a quick high-five from Troy, so that made everything
cool.
much better.
That's your guy, too.
That's the guy, man.
Yeah.
There's, as we've talked about, not many people that still, make you feel like a 12-year-old, weak at the knees, superhero athlete, but Troy Polamalu certainly will always be one of those guys. The superhero athlete of Sunday, you like that transition, fellas, might have been Jonathan Taylor over in Berlin, Matt, as he had a historic performance.
It was insane.
Colts beat the Falcons 31-25 in overtime in what was a really fun early morning game there.
Yeah, and frankly, it makes the Steelers' defense look a lot better for what they did to him. He's had one down game all year, and otherwise he's been a dominant player. And that one down game was against the Steelers. He was fantastic. Their offense is as good as it's ever been. Colts are a really, really strong team. I think they have a chance to win the whole thing.
They certainly
Atlanta
do.
does. I don't know what to think of Atlanta. They're
Drake London's a stud.
Yes.
Bijan Robinson's a stud. Other than that, I don't know what to think of Atlanta.
I know.
Bears, Matt, don't look now, man.
I know they're in
6-3. They once again a massive fourth quarter to win a game. They've done this a few times in the last handful of weeks. 24-20 over the Giants, and Brian Dable been relieved of his duties this morning.
Some really good moments by Caleb Williams too. I mean, he, as all young quarterbacks, there's some up and down, but I think Bears fans got to say, we have an offense, an offensive coach, and a quarterback work on the defense this offseason, but in the meantime, we're winning games, and they get a ton of takeaways. I don't know what to think of the Dayball situation. I mean, they've lost a couple big players.
Huge.
And Dart just got hurt again. I mean, concussion stuff, putting himself in harm's way, Johnny Knoxville stuff. I don't think that's Dayball's fault. But I also didn't think there's probably any chance Dayball's going to be back next year.
Sure.
But I don't know what it gains you as a team. Being part of a team that did the interim thing with Butch Davis the year I was there, it wasn't like we got any better. We still don't block or tackle well enough, and our players aren't good enough.
Maybe it gives you a little bit of a jump on the next coaching cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are some advantages.
I feel like that's more of a thing at the collegiate ranks than it is in the NFL.
Probably.
Like if you're Virginia Tech, you want to get out ahead of Florida and Oklahoma State, and, all these other programs that are trying to hire a coach.
You can build your staff now without a head guy. I don't know. I mean, we kind of saw this coming. It's just people think I bash Dart, and this isn't meant that way. I have my doubts about him, but it probably doesn't help his development that the folks that draft him and fell in love with him
are now out of the building.
They're gone.
What if the next head coach comes in and you've got a 4th overall pick or whatever, and he's like, I went Mendoza or Dante Moore or Lenore Sellers or.
I would assume they wouldn't hire that guy. The Giants ownership's
That's going to be
like,
part of the interview conversation. How do you feel about Jackson Dart?
You better be excited about Dart, or you're not really in the running. Okay, but it's going to be a new system, and it's going to be new for. I mean, there's no stability there.
No, there's not. And I think listen, sometimes you can be guilty of stability for stability reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with a young quarterback, that's so important. Look at
Tennessee,
Baker Mayfield.
Like Tennessee does this all the time. It really bothers me, and history's not kind to the teams where GM hires coach, and then GM gets fired, and then coach influences GM hire, and then GM gets fired. And every other one gets fired.
It's like Charlotte's Web.
Right. It's not like they ever come in together and let's build this up together and be a team. It's like, I didn't hire you and you didn't hire that guy, and every other one gets fired like every other year. It's like it never works.
Never works. Maybe the most surprising result of the weekend, and there were a couple, but maybe the most surprising result of the weekend, the Dolphins just boat race the Bills, Matt, 30-13. That's just, you and I talked about this on Friday, how Buffalo going to Miami has been a real bugaboo for them. But typically it's in early September when it's 97 degrees and the sun's beating on you on that sideline.
Geography's a little different in Buffalo and Miami.
It was not the case there in November.
No.
They just got their wallets handed to them for 60 minutes.
So it's so easy when you so concentrate on a team. Thursday night on the road, Steelers are going to lose that one in Cleveland or Cincinnati or whatever, or boy, they play bad in Philly, or Oakland they hated, blah blah blah. Maybe it's just a thing, that in Miami is bad for that franchise. And I meant to bring this up, and I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but Aaron Rodgers is 0-5 against Harbaugh. Harbaugh might know something about
that's a big enough sample size now.
You'll love this. I mentioned to Pursuta, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he probably hacked all his files.
Oh yeah, he probably had Connor Stallions on the sideline to cheat."
Right, and guys hiding in trees in AR's house trying to figure out what he's up to or whatever.
Sometimes I think that I really hate Pitt and Virginia Tech and some of these WVU rivals.
Even close.
But then you around Mike Pursuta and someone says, "Meh," and he goes, "Michigan cheated for their national championship."
Yep. But, if you're the guy that's had that good a career, Rodgers, is 0-5 against one specific really good coach, maybe there's something to that, or he's figured something out. Like a lot of Rodgers' scrambles or quarterback in-pocket movement, and I think he had addressed this a little bit before. I will get back to around the league in a second, but he was often stepping up into sacks. And Mike and I were talking about this. It's like, if I'm Troy Fautanu blocking this defensive end, and the defensive end goes back towards the line of scrimmage after driving up the line of scrimmage, I have no way of blocking. I can't.
Like the Bud Dupree sack last night.
That's what I mean, right? There was some of those. I wonder if Harbaugh has a little clue of, like how Baker always used to roll right into TJ Watt. You know what I mean? Like, does he have one or
Kenny
two clues?
Pickett spin out,
Yeah, right. And that's a small example. I'm reaching. But he's 0-5 against Harbaugh, who's a really good coach. Maybe Harbaugh has Rodgers' number more than other coaches. Whatever. Maybe Miami has Buffalo's number in Miami.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they clearly do.
But I do want to say a couple things. Buffalo's D had a really good moment against the Chiefs 2 weeks ago. But it's been bad all year, and it was really bad in this game.
And they've lost some key pieces of that defense too over the last couple weeks.
And I think it's going to be a bad
linebacker whose name's escaping me right now.
Achan was phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
He's having a great year. Quietly, because he's on a terrible team. But
right. And I don't think they're a terrible team. I think they're now one team, I would say, that is not in whatever the lowest tier is
like
anymore.
You wouldn't want to play like you.
No.
If you have them on the back half of your schedule, you'd be like, man, I wish we got these guys in September.
So, like, the first, I guess,
like
5
the
or
Steelers,
6.
they're with them coming here on Monday night in a few weeks.
Yeah. They're not a pushover anymore. And you know that he can manufacture offense, and Achan and Waddle and Tua are legit dudes. And just a small example, like, they had the worst run defense you've ever seen through, like, 5 or 6 weeks. Over the last month, it's been the best in the league. You're allowed to get better. You know what I mean? They drafted Kenneth Grant in the first round.
You're allowed to get coached up. You're allowed to get better. And yeah, man, the Dolphins. They've had.
I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying they're not the bottom.
Well, no, clearly. I mean, it'd be one thing if they just beat the Bills, but they smoked.
They did. That really wasn't close.
Buffalo frustrated them for 60 minutes. Might have been the game of the week, Matt, down in Tampa, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fell to the Patriots 28-23. That was a fun back-and-forth one. The Patriots moved to 8-2.
I thought that was going to be the step back for New England.
Same.
And
I think we both predicted that on Friday.
Yeah. I'm pretty much on board that that's a MVP and Coach of the Year candidate and a vastly improved defense. And, yeah, I don't think they're just a cute story anymore. Tampa's a legit team.
They absolutely are, and so are the Patriots, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, I think they're back.
So these Boston teams deserve to suffer for a couple decades after the early 21st century they had. I mean, come on. Celtics went right back to being good. Patriots went right back to being good. I don't follow baseball closely enough. I don't know what's going on with the Red Sox.
They have money. They must be good.
They made the playoffs. I mean, they lost to the Yankees in Game 5.
Bruins
I think
are good
it was,
too, right?
Decent. They're taking a little bit of a step back. They've been good. They're taking a little bit of a step back this year. Matt, another surprising result, and we know crazy things can happen in division play, and I think we thought that the Panthers were playing a little bit above their head, but the Saints go into Charlotte and win by 10 over Carolina, who falls to 5-5. Saints move to 2-8 with a 17-7 victory.
The big story here is we're getting way ahead of ourselves to even say it in this light, but they might have something in Shuck.
And Tyler Shuck, yeah.
I mean, this staff drafted him. He was a top 40 pick.
That's your guy.
He drives the ball down the field. He's aggressive.
You liked him a lot at the Combine.
I did. Liked everything about him but his age. But, I mean, maybe.
We'll be talking about that with Hayes King, the Georgia Tech quarterback here.
People have been asking us to address him on one of these.
I just got to say,
I
love how many tweets and messages we've gotten about the Around Campus segment.
Yeah,
I love it. It warms my college football heart. I love it.
And I'm not saying the Saints will get to this point, but if they're going to have a high pick. Maybe they'll say, give me the best defensive end or wide receiver in the draft instead of the quarterback. Maybe.
That would help the Steelers.
Well, that too.
But we got plenty of time to talk about that when we get to Combine and draft season.
And I think Carolina's bad. I mean, deep down in their roots. I think
5-5 is like a 6. They're playing a little above their head.
Yeah.
Texans, another surprising result. Sans C.J. Stroud, We've seen so many of these across the league this year. A 26-point fourth quarter.
I said Jacksonville basically blew this.
Unbelievably bad. But if we were JNR, Jacksonville Nation Radio, we'd be pulling our hair out today. Yeah. You just let Houston back into the division race, into the wild card race.
You could have
buried this team.
Backup
you could have been 6-3 and firmly in the playoff position. All credit to Houston, though. Monty Python, they're not dead yet.
No, they're not dead yet. I wonder if Jacksonville's dead. I mean, they're not mathematically. I understand that this doesn't destroy them, but this definitely helps, like the Steelers' cause or the other wild card teams. Like the Chargers are happy about it. Those type of teams are happy to see the Jags lose.
Couple big results here for some NFC contenders, perhaps even NFC favorites. Let's start in Seattle, where the Seahawks moved to 7-2, a 44-22
dominated from the start.
Domination from the start.
2 early defensive touchdowns. Didn't even have to throw the ball. They're real good. They're real good.
They're one of those teams that they've got 20 different ways to beat you.
Yeah, they do.
And that's a good.
They're in a really good
place
spot.
to be.
Yeah. I think them and the Rams might be the 2 best teams in the league.
And speaking of the Rams, another blowout win over a division foe. They go to San Francisco, exercise some demons. They had struggled against that team lately. Not on Sunday, 42-26. And Matt Stafford, if I'm playing a game this Sunday, Matt, for the fate of the universe, I might want Matt Stafford starting as my quarterback.
Really high on the list.
I mean, probably would still go with Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If I'm building a team and I have to play the minions of hell on Sunday for the fate of the universe, I might have Matt Stafford under center right now.
The Monstars are coming.
The Monstars are coming to the North Shore, and I got to draft my starting 11 on both sides of the ball.
He's hard to go against.
He might be the guy at quarterback right now.
And we kind of talked about this leading up to Chargers, that I think there's still 4 elite quarterbacks. Herbert and Stafford are my choice for 5, and he might be elite too. I mean, he's really, really good.
Did you see the crazy? Did you see the crazy Stafford stat?
I don't think.
He, with that win, for the first time in his career, no longer has a losing record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He finally got that Detroit off of him, baby.
Yeah, that's a great lesson too, because he was first overall pick, superstar, draft guy.
He is first overall pick of not my fault.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. I mean, and he wasn't perfect as a real young player, and he had some injuries, and he was thrown to Calvin Johnson. But man, I don't know how many times I had to defend him as, this guy's a bust. You don't want this dude on your team. I'm like, do you know what he's fighting against? Wait till he hits and he hits like age 28, 30 or whatever, gets in the right spot. It's like, oh, he's like the best player in the league.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. And another massive lopsided win for an NFC contender. The Lions get back in the win column. We predicted this one, Matt. We said it
went just like I thought it would.
Ugly for the Commanders against the Seahawks. Going to be ugly for them at home once again against another NFC contender, 44-22, as the Lions continue to roll and look pretty darn good.
Yeah, and I've been bad with predictions. I picked the Steelers to win outright. I mean, I'm not saying I know things, but this one I felt like you could see a mile away. That's a team that eliminated them. Washington's down. Detroit's coming off a big loss. That's usually when they win by 30.
Yes,
and
that's what Dan Campbell's teams have done.
All gas, no brakes.
Just impressive performance from the Lions. From the start, and they are, man. They're like chum in the water. When
the frenzy starts,
they smell that blood and they feast.
Yep.
And that's what they did in our nation's capital, although I guess technically in Landover, Maryland, where Northwest Stadium is. Ooh, excuse me. That's your Week 10, right? Week 10 slate around the NFL, yes.
Yeah.
Only one game left to go this week. It'll be tonight at Lambeau Field, and it is a 5-star matchup between the Packers and the Eagles. We'll talk about that a little bit when we return on the other side. Some final thoughts here on a Monday, all of that as we close up shop. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here of The Drive on a Monday as we put a bow on this Week 10 slate. Get ready for Monday Night Football here tonight, a 5-star matchup at one of the hallowed grounds of football in this country, Lambeau Field, between the Packers and the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. But first, Matt, just wanted to follow up with you precisely on that Matt Stafford stat that I mentioned. That's a crazy one. He is now 500 as a quarterback in his career. Wow. So not even a winning record. 500.
Okay, now he's just dead even.
115, 115, and 1 after 231 career games. At 231 starts, that's the most starts by a quarterback in NFL history. Well, most starts by a quarterback before reaching 500 in league history since starts were first tracked in 1950.
Didn't even care who to start. We didn't jot that stuff down back then.
That's pretty wild.
That is pretty wild. I mean, you got to be... In some ways, it's
he won a Super Bowl, man.
Right. There's some stats that remind me of Crash Davis in,
yeah.
I mean, he's the most home runs in minor league history.
Right?
Yes. Like that. I mean, there's stats like that. Like you better be pretty darn good that you hit that many home runs, but you also
the Bull Durham character.
Yeah, but you also never really got to the show.
Yes.
And
I think he only played 2 years in the league.
In the show.
Yeah.
Now Stafford's a Hall of Famer in the NFL, so it's not quite the same. But you had 115. You have as many losses as you wins. I mean, there's a lot of stretch where you weren't in great shape either. You know,
He was 74-90-1 in his 12 years with the Detroit Lions.
wow. I guess he's only been in the Rams, what, 3 years, 4 years?
41-25. He got traded to the Rams in 2021. So 21, 22, 23, 24. This is his 5th year with the Rams.
Okay.
It seems like it's got to be more than that. Isn't it?
No, I would think. I was thinking 3 or 4. But he won the Super Bowl.
Won the Super Bowl.
And what's crazy is I'm sure Goff has a winning record who he got traded for.
No doubt.
With the Lions. I'm sure it's a...
Yeah, this is his 5th year. 5th year with the Rams. 12 with the Lions, 5 with the Rams. Goff definitely does.
Yeah, he definitely does.
They've been, other than like that
never
first,
had a bad year. Right?
Yeah, other than that first year of Campbell, I mean, they've been rolling. He is 45-28-1. Jared Goff is in his 5 years in Detroit.
Okay. So that deal worked out for both.
That deal did work out for both.
At least.
Especially, I mean, hey, if Goff can find a way to win a Super Bowl with Detroit at some point, you know, this year, next year, whatever.
For a franchise that never has won one.
Would be one of the like rare trades in sports history that works out well for both teams. There's a couple of those over the years, but not many.
And what's crazy is, neither team will ever admit this, but the Rams basically said, you have to take Goff.
Yes.
We need him off the books.
Yeah.
We'll give you extra picks if you take Goff. Like, he's got to go.
It's not like
and
Detroit was stoked to be acquiring him at that time.
But their GM came from the Rams organization that made the deal. So I think he was like, we'll take the contract. We'll try it for a year. If it doesn't work, we got all these picks. We'll draft a quarterback. Well, it worked.
It worked.
Right.
Sure did. Speaking of which, I saw a couple, not a bunch, maybe 2, 3, 4, Cal Aaron Rodgers jerseys at the game.
That adds up. Yeah, that's that neck of the woods.
Of course.
Sure.
Probably people that were Cal fans that love Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Go see my guy. A lot of Dodgers jerseys in that stadium too last night, as you could imagine.
Right.
Mookie Betts was there. They showed him.
They showed him
at one point, and the place went nuts. As they're kind of still basking in the glory of back-to-back Dodgers World Series.
I'm sure those games are heavily attended by celebs, but I don't think it's like Nicholson in the front row of the Lakers game.
No.
No. Right, yeah.
You know what's really cool is right across the street from SoFi is where it's now the Kia Forum, but where the Forum is.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we drive, I mean, this is only the second time I've been to SoFi for a game, but both times we've driven past there, I'm like, that's pretty. There's a lot of history in that building right there.
Right.
Between the Lakers and just that was like the premier concert venue for, that's where Motley Crue became Motley Crue, was at the Forum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Jack and Magic and all these legendary battles with the Celtics and
Kobe and
Wilt
even recent. Yeah.
I mean, it's a really just coolly unique design stadium. It almost looks like an opera hall.
Yeah.
Like
the celebrities have been in there.
Oh,
and the good hoops have been in there.
And again,
Gretzky got traded to the Kings. That was huge when I was a kid.
Right. And kind of like Kinger was saying out when he was talking about SoFi, how he's like more of an old school guy, but it was really impressive. Like that history, when you drive past an old stadium like that, and it's like, man, think of all the concerts and the championships, and the Hall of Famers and the Oscar winners and Grammy winners that have, been in there.
Like tonight's super cool. Lambeau's unbelievably historic. But there's only been like one sport, and it's not like Nicholson. And
football stadiums are always different than this because the Steelers never won a Super Bowl at Three Rivers.
That's
the Packers
true,
never
right.
won. I mean, maybe they did back in like the 40s when it was different, but they've never won a Super Bowl. They've never won a Super Bowl at Lambeau.
No one's ever won it. Yeah. Right.
But
how many Game 7s did the Lakers or the Canadians or whatever win in their building?
Exactly right. The Pirates are the only Pittsburgh team that's won a championship in Pittsburgh. Pens won all theirs on the road, which is kind of crazy when you consider 5 out of 5 they won on the road.
Right.
Steelers, obviously, Super Bowls were neutral site. Even, Pitt's national championship in the Sugar Bowl in the 70s was, in Georgia or wherever it was. At New Orleans, I think.
I think that was New Orleans.
I mean, that's when you frame it like that, like there's just something about those two where like a bunch of champions have been crowned in there.
Boston Gardens. Right. I mean, it's stuff hanging from the rafters.
Right across the street. It's a really cool area. Cool. It's a really cool area. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere with like the airport, SoFi, the Forum, and then the brand new, which, dude, it looks amazing. I know I've told you this off air, but the Clippers just built an arena in that kind of Inglewood complex too that looks like an orb. It's called the Intuit Dome, and like it literally looks like a dome, and it was like $4 or $5 billion. Wow. Looks like a really cool facility. I was thinking about going. The Clippers hosted the Suns on Saturday night.
Huh.
And it was only like 2 miles from our hotel. It wasn't far. But with the show that we did, with how far away it was 70 minutes in the opposite direction.
Oh, you
and
weren't
so
even-
by
you
the
weren't
time
close,
the time we got back to the hotel, it was already like the second quarter of the game, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some dinner and go to bed.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was also like 11 o'clock East Coast time at that point, and
Makes sense.
tired and long day Sunday and flight home and all that stuff. But it's a really cool area that they've built up. Like, it used to just be the airport and the Forum, and there was nothing else there.
Nothing else there.
You know,
parking lots.
Yeah. Now they've turned. There's a mall and a couple stadiums, and they've turned it into a pretty cool complex. Matt, Monday Night Football tonight. Packers, Eagles, 5-star matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of. I just use this term with the Rams and the Seahawks and the Lions, but I'll use it again with these two NFC contenders. I mean, there's some legit
NFC,
contenders.
I think, stronger.
Loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded. Maybe the middle class of the AFC is better.
Maybe.
But there's 5 or 6 teams in the NFC that could win a Super Bowl. Legitimately.
I agree. And
legitimately.
both of them are playing tonight. Part of me expects that the Eagles start to grab things by the throat a little bit. You know, they made some trades. Brandon Graham comes out of retirement. They're starting to figure things out on offense. They have pretty good history about this time of year of just turning the dial up a little bit more. The O-line's healthy. I would definitely pick the Eagles in this game. And I think there's a lot of uneasiness or unevenness with the Packers this year. But that being said, it's a week-to-week league. They probably win by 20 and show.
I was going to say the Packers have defined that, what you were talking about. I was
So
just going to
much.
say that
Maybe
whole
more than anything.
week-to-week league thing that you were talking about earlier, which is spot on. The Packers are a microcosm of that.
Yes, they're absolutely the poster boy of it. And I'm sure a lot of Steeler fans are like, I'd much rather be in their shoes than Steelers' shoes. And I probably would too, but you'd be really frustrated rooting for the Packers right now.
Yes, absolutely.
You lose to Carolina,
Green Bay, 1.5-point favorite at home, Matt. You taking the points with the Eagles?
Yeah, I think the Eagles win.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's – now, I know we've said this about the Chiefs, and they've still kind of been wishy-washy.
I know. I thought the Chiefs were about to turn a corner too, but
these championship caliber teams who have been there, done that. This is about the time. The calendar turns to November. There's some snow flurries falling around.
I'm sure it'll be cold there tonight and feel like
this is about when the championship teams in the NFL start to turn it on.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, the Packers win by 20. It would not surprise me one bit.
I know that I don't know,
but
trust me.
If I got to put money on this, I'll take the Eagles and the points. I might even try and work it up to like 2.5 instead of 1.5. But yeah, that's going to be a fun one tonight, man, and what is always a cool environment. It looks like no snow, but 32 degrees tonight at kickoff at Lambeau.
Perfect.
Be a chilly one.
Yeah.
Just the way it should be.
Just the way it should be. Right.
Up in Green Bay, Wisconsin in November,
Yeah,
right?
we're getting deep into November now.
Yeah, gotta love it. 2 of the better running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Gonna be a lot of fun, that one for sure this evening. And we will talk about that a little bit tomorrow. What else will we do on a Tuesday? Power rankings on a Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll talk more Steelers Chargers too.
More Steelers Chargers. We'll do our Tuesday rewind. I'm going to rewatch the game tonight. I'll come in with a couple things to kick around with you. And we'll also catch up with Chris Adamski after missing out on him last week due to the trade deadline craziness. So plenty to look forward to as it relates to our show tomorrow. Big thanks to Rob King for joining us on like 20 minutes of sleep today. And to Tyler V, Mr. TV, our producer, for making us look handsome on the YouTube. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.